Ever wonder why some outdoor party rental companies act like heaters are made of gold? They kind of are, because heat outside is basically money you're burning, sometimes literally. Picture a chilly outdoor wedding in November, guests shivering in their rented chairs, and somewhere behind a tent, a generator is chugging away like a grumpy little robot. That generator is the heartbeat of the whole operation, and every heartbeat costs fuel. Most vendors run propane patio heaters or diesel-powered generators to keep those heaters running, and both of those need constant refueling. Propane usually gets measured by the gallon, and a single tall mushroom heater can burn through 1 gallon every 2 to 3 hours, depending on how cold it is outside. Here's the twist nobody tells you at first. Running a heater is not like running a toaster where you just flip a switch and forget it. The colder the air, the harder that heater has to work, which means it eats fuel faster, kind of like how you eat more snacks during a stressful movie. So vendors have to become part meteorologist, part accountant, checking the forecast almost like it is a mood ring for their wallet. If the weatherman says 40 degrees, that vendor is already doing math in their head about extra fuel canisters. Generators themselves burn diesel or gasoline, and a mid-sized generator can guzzle around 2 to 4 gallons an hour just to keep the lights, sound system, and heaters purring along. That number sounds small until you realize an event can run 6 or 7 hours, and suddenly you are looking at a fuel bill that could buy a decent television. This is why vendors do not just guess a price, they calculate it, almost like a video game character leveling up their strategy before a big boss fight. They estimate hours of runtime, multiply by fuel burn rate, add the cost per gallon, then toss in a buffer because nothing ever goes exactly as planned. Efficiency choices matter here too, because a newer inverter generator sips fuel compared to an old clunky one that guzzles it like a college kid at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Vendors who invest in efficient equipment can actually charge a little less and still make more profit, which is basically the dream scenario for everybody. Some vendors switch to electric heaters if the venue has power hookups, which trades fuel costs for electricity costs, and honestly, it is like choosing between soda and juice. Different price, different flavor, same goal of not freezing your guests. But electric only works if the venue's power grid can handle it without blowing a breaker mid-toast. There is also a funny myth floating around that heaters just run at one steady cost no matter what, like a subscription service. In reality, it is more like a video game where the difficulty changes based on temperature, wind, and how long the event runs, so the cost shifts constantly. Vendors also track something called load, which is just a fancy word for how much stuff is plugged in at once. More heaters, more lights, more sound equipment means the generator works harder, similar to how a phone battery drains faster when 15 apps are open at the same time. This is why a quote for a chilly outdoor event often costs more than a quote for a mild spring day, even if everything else about the party looks the same. It is not because vendors are trying to trick you. It is because Old Man Winter is basically an uninvited guest who still expects to be fed fuel. Smart vendors build in a buffer of 10 to 20% extra fuel into their pricing just in case the night runs long or the temperature drops lower than expected. Nobody wants to be the vendor who runs out of propane during the father-daughter dance. That is basically an event planning nightmare. At the end of the day, pricing heated equipment is part science, part weather guessing, and part good old-fashioned business sense, blending fuel math with real-world unpredictability. It is less about greed and more about making sure your toes stay warm without the vendor going bankrupt trying to keep you cozy. So next time you see a heater rental fee and think it seems high, just remember there is a whole world of fuel math, generator efficiency, and forecast watching happening behind the scenes. Want to learn more about how event vendors keep things running smoothly? Check out our links in the description.